Now, the breakaway Republic of Somaliland has been called a haven of peace in a rough neighbourhood that's pretty much getting rougher by the month. The prospect of armed conflict is never that far away. Now, despite having its own military, its currency, passports, universities, its own court system, and having held a string of democratic elections, Somaliland isn't recognised by the international community. It's regarded still as part of Somalia. So how far can Somaliland go without official recognition? Well, that's a question for our guest, Professor Iid Ali Salaam, a senior advisor to the Somaliland government in Hargeisa, from where he joins us now. Thanks for talking to us, Professor. How are you doing?
Oh, fine. Thank you very much, Martini.
How does Somaliland actually function? I mean, do you have a system of taxation? I presume you rely a lot on remittances from abroad.
Yes, yeah, we rely a lot from the remittance, from abroad, the Somaliland diaspora, but also we have, a flourishing, trade. It's Somalilanders, they are entrepreneurs, or Somalis, they are entrepreneurs. And, we have a lot of, business people who, import, different goods from, different parts of the world, and then they export that, to Ethiopia, even to Somalia. And when you look, Somaliland, how they survived, a country that was destroyed completely, and about more than 100,000 were killed, and over 2 million, were displaced, and they were refugees in Ethiopia and other parts of the world, like Djibouti or even UK. And when the SNM win 1991, there wasn't any institution functioning. There wasn't any income. But in fact, I can say, and me as an entrepreneur as well, because of their creativity, Somalilanders, they survived. And particularly women, I can say, they did a lot, and it is written, and there's research. I and two professors from Cardiff University, we did in Somaliland 2018. And that one was looking the small, informal trade in Somaliland. And it was beginning from 1991.
I'm getting everybody, virtually everybody, commends Somaliland for the amazing reconstruction and the amazing commitment that Somalilanders have had to rebuilding their country, as you said, after that terrible, terrible devastation. It was called the Dresden of Africa, wasn't it, Hargeisa? So everybody, I think, appreciates that. It's been described as a haven of peace in a fairly troubled neighbourhood. But the interesting thing, really, for me, is how does Somaliland see its future, given that it's not recognised by anyone, and it seems to be hanging on a thread for this memorandum of understanding, this MOU that was signed with the Ethiopians.
I was a consultant and advisor to the Somali government. The National Development Plan of Somaliland for 7 years. And with that National Development Plan, it's not only the Somali government or Somali institutions, no, it is with the international community. And name it, the World Bank, the African Development Bank, say USAID, say DFID, say every institution, every international, organization and country, they are part of that, deal of the foreign aid. And I have documented all that for 7 years. Therefore, when we are drawing our national development plan, every country, almost, particularly America, Europe, say particularly, the British government, they are all involved in drawing that national development plan with us. And in that, we plan what to be done this year, next year, 3 year, 4 year, And things I can say it's not happening. If you plan something, you can say I will get everything, but some developments are happening. For example, now when we look Berbera port, the DB well, invested there about half a billion, 450 million, and now the British government also they put money in that, and then the corridor and all this, and the roads are improved. Therefore, things are moving in that way. It's not recognized. But every you can imagine, how many people the British government have an office here, and and they are helping, the development of Somaliland, Danida, in Denmark, they have it, Therefore, every institution and the ambassadors they come from, say, Nairobi, and they come to Hargeisa, and they look the development and all this. Therefore, yes, we can say it's not recognized, but I think things are, happening in a way, not the way not meeting all the needs, but things are happening and moving. And I tell you, with the Somalia, when we were a union or whatever you say, there was no university in Somaliland at all. People have to go to Mogadishu to get higher education. But now we have over 20 universities here, and they are linked with the international, with the other university in the world. Therefore, things are moving very, very well. And when we look, the revenue and all that, it's improving. It's improving, in fact, and the remittance also, it's helping a lot. Yeah.
I wanted to ask a little bit more about the prospects for this agreement with Ethiopia. As Martin says, I don't think we've seen the fine details. And since that happened, we've seen very bellicose noises being made by all of Ethiopia and of Somaliland's foes. And that includes, obviously, the Republic of Somalia itself. It includes Egypt, it includes Djibouti and Eritrea. That's a pretty daunting prospect, added to which it seems that the United Arab Emirates, which, as you said, have a port investment in Hargeisa, the DP World setup, are backing Ethiopia. This looks like it could really spin out of control. What can be done to stop that, do you think?
I would like to, say objectively to answer that question. There is a long, long historical connection between Ethiopia and Somaliland. And the way I'm saying that is 1990, 1998, 88, when Somaliland cities were destroyed and there was a genocide, people without even nothing to eat, nothing to have, they ran to Ethiopia. Ethiopia people, they were very welcoming, and they treated the Somaliland people, refugees, amazingly, in a very, very humanitarian way, and helping them a lot. And that is not something which is just happening. There was a connection, trade and business between Somaliland and Ethiopia over the centuries. Even my father, he used to have a business. I'm from Somaliland, Hargeisa, but he used to have business in Ethiopia, in Diriraba, in Gondar, and other Somalilanders, they had that. Therefore, that connection and that understanding, it was there from years and years. Therefore, what I'm saying, this is culminating. This new agreement is going to maximize the connections between the two people to people, and the trade between the two countries is amazing.
Can I jump in, Prof, and ask you to get to the point of Patrick's question, and that is, what is the status of that agreement with Ethiopia? You've told us how it will improve ties between your two peoples, but what is the status of it at the moment?
I mean, I'm talking of just unilateral, not multilateral. When I say unilateral, I'm talking about, the agreement between Somaliland and Ethiopia. And that, the Somali government, they set up, highly skilled, committee intellectuals of Somaliland, and they put, the, what do you call, defining and looking at, this agreement, and that's ready. And they shared that, with Ethiopia as well. I think, well, to my personal view, that will happen. Whenever it happens, it's going to happen.
But the legal position is that the African Union doesn't recognize Somaliland's status as an independent country, nor does the United Nations. So what is the best route in the interest of Somalilanders of changing that? Because if you just do it by some bilateral deal with Ethiopia that isn't recognized, that doesn't really help very much, does it?
No, no. I think when you say international, the legal international, I think, Somaliland have every right to decide their destination.
But you may have a moral right, but you don't have the legal right. That's the question.
When you look, say, 26 June, the British government gave, the independence of Somaliland. There wasn't any connection between Somaliland and Somalia, Italian Somalia. Therefore, this this voluntary agreement was biased. It didn't work at all, and Somaliland people have every right to decide their destination, and that's what the international, law is saying. It's written there. But when it comes to politics, that's a different thing. But when you look, say, Somalia, even they can't control, their, country. It's about 25,000, soldiers from Africa helping them, But when you come to Hargeisa, it is by the people themselves, our police, looking after our peace and all that. But how can we deal with that? Let them first sort out their situation. When it comes, to legality, there were many lawyers who are helping a lot, Somaliland, international recognition and international, legality on this. Therefore, I think it's something which we have to continue. And I tell you, Patrick, there won't be any U-turn of the Somaliland people to say we are going back to Somalia at all.
Professor Iid Ali Ahmed, I'd like to thank you very much indeed for taking the time to join us from Hargeisa.